you want to just read that fact out again? You just said before we came on the air about the 5-star matches from WWE.
The fact that he's never given a WWE women's match ever a 5-star rating.
Yeah, I mean, Annie, how do you respond to that?
He's a cunt.
I had to get one off earlier on.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really argue with that, can we?
A bleeper, William, for this one.
I don't think we've got that, unfortunately. We're just going to have to let this go.
Yes.
But yeah, let's talk about Dave Meltzer, shall we? Or some people call him Uncle Dave. I don't know who calls him that, but, you know.
Uncle Dave.
Yeah, I think you call him that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Right, okay, then we're just going to hit record and let's just see where the show takes us. Right, here we go. You know what? Screw the intros. Jim, let's just kick off over today's show. What do you want to talk about when it comes to Meltzer?
Mate, it's an absolute joke. You're talking about a guy who has no ties with wrestling whatsoever. He's never booked a show himself. He's never actually been in the ring, so he doesn't actually know what he's talking about. And people use what he says as gospel. You've got people in the industry, in main companies like WWE, in NXT, that look at what his ratings are and they go by that as what is actual good ratings. I just want to point this out as well. I literally just did this before I came on because she asked me to come on this about an hour ago.
Mm-hmm.
He's had 202 5-star ratings in his career. In total, for WWE, he's given 6.
Mm-hmm.
And WWE's been going for like, what, 40 years, 30 years-ish? Yep. Yeah. In the last 3 years, he's given AEW 15 5-star matches.
And if I remember rightly, is that more than Will Ospreay's?
Yeah.
Yeah. His nose so far up Will Ospreay's arse, I'm surprised he can still breathe.
He's getting paid off by Tony Khan, he must be.
Yeah.
He's got to be getting paid off by Tony Khan.
Yeah.
Tony Khan must be saying to him, look, Mr. Dave, well, I'm going to give you £250,000 every single time that he says something nice about our wrestlers, and you can suck Will Ospreay off as much as you want. You can bank any Omega, you can get bummed by young Bucks and all them knobheads. He must be, honestly. I cannot stand the guy.
Both them, what was it, All Ins, he flew in on Tony's plane with Tony. Supposedly.
Did you really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That was pretty interesting. But the thing is, I mean, you mentioned the 5-star matches. I mean, what for us makes a 5-star match? Do you know what I mean? I mean, a 5-star match to him, what was so special about that? Because, I mean, we've seen matches and stuff like going, these are great, but when you look at them, is this really a 5-star match? What for you, James, makes a 5-star match?
Prime example, I'd get Austin versus Rock at WrestleMania 17.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
For me, that's a 5-star match. You've got Taker versus Michaels at WrestleMania 25. That's a 5-star match. I mean, when I talk about ones that aren't from Mania, John Cena versus AJ Styles at Royal Rumble 2017, I thought that were a 5-star match just because it was brilliant. The storyline itself was fantastic. It was a brilliant feud between the both. It was Cena fighting for his 16th world title. They had AJ Styles being AJ Styles, which we all knew and loved, and it was perfect. I want to throw out a tag team match that I think should have been a 5-star match. You got the Usos versus New Day at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view in Hell in a Cell. I think that was 2017 as well. That got 4 stars. Guess what match got higher than that? And I can't believe I'm going to say this. Shane McMahon versus Kevin Owens on the same pay-per-view got a higher rating than the New Day versus Usos.
Is that right? Let me have a look at that. What were it? Hell in the Cell, what?
Hell in the Cell 2017. Usos versus New Day got 4 stars, and I think Shane versus KO got 4.17.
Interesting. Let me have a look. No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, that is fucking balmy.
I don't get it. How can you go? How can you say that one guy who's never been in the business, who's never booked a match, who's never been in the ring, who's never actually experienced the actual craft itself and actually done the graft, how can you say that what he says is gospel?
Annie, how do you respond to that? I'll let you have a little discussion about it.
I mean, for me, I don't understand why people legitimize his opinion, because again, that's what journalism is. But people go for his ratings as if they're the sort of be all and end all. No, what was it? If you got like you totally just you've totally just shout all over your own sort of rating system as well. It doesn't even make sense. I call him, what was it, Dave Meltzer's chocolate starfish ratings, because they come out his arse, what was it called? I really don't understand why people legitimize his opinions. He says, well, he's been around for a long time and he knows. Yeah, he might be an historian, but it's quite clearly that his whole rating system is biased against the WWE. Purely bound down to the fact that Vince didn't give him a job way back in the late 80s, probably. What was it called? He was sniffing about the WWE for the longest time, trying to get a job, and they didn't give him one. So he's obviously been aggrieved with that ever since.
Definitely is. I'm just looking now. Do you know what matches he actually gave 5 stars? Just out of curiosity. And interestingly, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn from March 1st, 2025, that got a 5-star.
That's fair enough.
That is actually a good match, to be fair. But yeah, you're absolutely right. That's the only match I'm looking at. This is only in 2025. That's the only match from WWE to what I can see. Oh, wait, hang on now. Io Sky vs. Rhea Ripley vs. Bianca Belair from April 20th, 5 stars.
That should be.
Street Profits versus DUI versus Motor City Machine Guns, that got a 5. So there's actually quite a few this year.
But you look at throughout history, there's not a single women's main roster match that's got a 5-star rating. From 2011, there isn't one.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you can just have a whole little debate about that. I want to talk about his when he releases things he's hearing and stuff like his so-called news. Did you see the one about the recent releases?
It's such a dick.
We posted it in the chat.
He just wants to be constantly relevant. He's trying everything he can to make everyone talk about him, because when they're not talking about him, he's an absolute sociopath.
So just to give you sorry, go ahead, Danny.
No, you finish.
Yeah, so I've got the information here so I can read it out. So many of the WWE NXT releases were reportedly people were perceived to not working hard in training. Many of those were perceived as working not hard in training, and if you don't work hard in training, there's many people who do. And at this point, if the feeling is you're not working hard in training, I saw the term lazy. The ones who are lazy are going to be gone, and the ones who didn't stand out are going to be gone. That's obviously from Dave himself. But the thing is, where's he got that information from?
His own back end.
He hasn't, and it's like when anything's happening, he fucking sort of skirts about the truth of what's going to happen that much that people actually think he's been legitimate and he's hit the nail on the head, and he's not. It's like the same thing with the whole AAA stuff. Like nobody it was like a secret that WWE and AAA have been speaking worst kept secret. They've been talking for years, right? Yeah, but not a peep that was going to happen at WrestleMania, And then the very next day, he's got all these facts about all the wrestlers have been told that they have to learn English and this or that. It's just full of shit, Absolutely, just full of shit. I don't get why he's the barometer for what was it, good wrestling is, It's what was it, if people want to watch wrestling and rate wrestling, his ratings are so flawed now. and biased that you can't even legitimize them. In a sport that's not legitimate anyway, it's just bizarre. It's absolutely bizarre.
Yeah, in the lights of obviously this thing which was said here, this obviously got an response from Gigi Dolan and obviously Cora Jade. So Gigi Dolan commented by saying, "When I wasn't traveling to work either or two companies I was working for, I trained very hard 3 to 4 days a week, bumping my ass off and doing cardio drills. One of the best, toughest coaches I've ever worked with, and worked every single day with live events every other weekend. So I don't want to hear this. LOL. This then my bodybuilder says otherwise. So just like that, Gigi Dolan's like, no, hang on a minute, you can fuck off. Crazy, right?
It is, I mean, imagine saying that. Imagine saying that. It doesn't make any sense why he would even put that out, just other than just to be hateful, and know that people are out there. They'll not actually read the context of it. They'll just go straight into pure hatred for the company because he's attacking the WWE. It's just wrong.
No, and then of course the thing with Cora Jade. I want to get your thoughts on this one, James. This plus don't forget having to go to my own gym outside of work after strength and conditioning. That wasn't doing anything for me other than get my body shamed by bosses, co-workers, and fans. Now, if you remember, James, she did say that she will speak out when the time is right. Is there something going on?
I've no idea, mate. Honestly, it's just really frustrating with things like this because, as they say, there's always three sides to every story. There's one side, there's the other side, then there's the truth. So it's just madly infuriating because you've got this guy Dave Meltzer who was just trying everything he can to stir shit up to try and make everyone turn against WWE so that everyone will suck up to Tony Khan and everyone will suck off Kenny Omega and all them knobheads chuffing AEW. But at the end of the day, why can't they just let people enjoy watching wrestling? I mean, if anyone, in my opinion, if anyone should be doing a rating system for wrestling, it should be, I don't know, maybe Bully Ray, someone who's been in the business for fucking decades. Just someone like him, someone who's actually done the work. I mean, it says a lot that there's been interviews with Taker, Kevin Nash, Seth Rollins, bloody, just like loads of people in the industry that have all turned around and said Dave Meltzer is full of shit. So why are people still
even Eric
listening
Bischoff?
To it? Yeah, exactly. Eric Bischoff, someone who has been and worked for AEW, has called him out and said that he's full of shit. Why are people still listening to him? All it is pathetic, idiotic AEW marks that want to crucify WWE, that want to make themselves feel better about their shitty, flippy, dippy bullshit show that couldn't hold a candle to WWE ever because it's run by pathetic, small-minded, small-cocked little cunt called Tony Khan, who every single time he wants a bit of money, runs back to his daddy and he pawns even more stuff at chuffing Fulham Football Club and Jacksonville Jaguars or whatever the fuck they're called. That fucking shit fucking American team. That's all he is. He's a pathetic, small dick, small-minded little wanker that needs to be put out of the business because he's not doing anything good for the business apart from making people into pricks.
I mean, Haney, you can't say any better than that.
Yeah, I mean, and like the thing that's going on just now as well is people are complaining because the WWE's got all these wrestling shows on during the week of All In Texas and things like that. It's like, what are you whining about? You keep on going on about competition's good. So when they give you a bit of competition, you complain about it. They're doing it to be spiteful and this, that, and the other. Absolutely. The guy's an absolute bell end. Like fair enough. Fair enough. He loves wrestling and he's got the money to do these sort of things. But my God, like Go watch the first couple of episodes of AEW and go watch it now. You can't tell me that the product's any better. You know, it's improved. It's got far worse. You know, they've got ridiculous things. They've got ridiculous things going on. Anything good, and it's quite ironic because they were meant to be the wrestling show. Anything good on AEW for the last year and a half is basically WWE orientated sort of entertainment with like Tony Storm and things like that, where they've bought a storyline around them. You know, what was it called? Yeah, if it was done in the WWE, they would be criticising the same thing. You know, like the puppet, the lassie with the puppet. You know, what was it?
Ali Cameron.
Yes, it's funny, but the WWE's done stuff like that in the past, and it gets slated. You know, they've got what was it? Okada, who was like meant to be the greatest wrestler on the planet, who'd headlined multiple what was it? Tokyo Domes, playing a joke, stereotypical racist Japanese guy, just going about saying bitch to everybody. You know, WWE did that, they would be absolutely called out in the bullshit of it all. You know, what was it? Just what's John Moxley doing? What's he doing? When was the last time the belt was on television? The actual belt? It's not been seen since I think like October or something like that. The actual belt, you know, the champion doesn't carry it.
It's crazy. It's fucking balmy. Have you actually seen the viewership numbers?
The
Doing
viewership
worse than
number,
NXT, isn't it?
You what, sorry?
It's doing worse than NXT.
I'll show you. So there you go. So on the screen, you can see the average by quarterly and stuff like that. So the purple is AEW Dynamite, and the grey is obviously WWE NXT. I mean, here, I know people's going to say, "Oh, numbers and numbers," but numbers don't lie.
no, they don't. You know, and again, it's amazing how the numbers didn't become as soon as they stopped beating NXT, the numbers all of a sudden became irrelevant. You know, what was it? To like, and then all of a sudden, well, NXT, you know, is this and that. You know, they've got all these sort of wrestlers. What was it called? Oh, like NXT's not producing any stars. You know, but was it weird sort of thing? Because some of the biggest names coming up in wrestling, Braun Strowman, NXT. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Tiffany Stratton was NXT. What was it called? Bianca was NXT. You know, these are all homegrown names.
Mm-hmm.
Rhea Ripley, NXT.
Should we just keep going?
You could just you can just keep going and going. You know, Street Profits were NXT. What was it called? There's so many of them. You know, and for them to say they're not making stars is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Absolutely. So, Jim, as you look at the numbers there, what do you notice about the AEW ones to the NXT ones?
Mate, it's stupid. I mean, look even as far back when we had pandemic era. You've got SmackDown, who's got nearly 3 million views each quarter. You've got Raw, who's got nearly 2 million each quarter. You've got NXT, nearly 1 million, and AEW Dynamite, yeah, beat them on a couple of quarters. But that's because they had people like CM Punk, who came from WWE. You've got Swerve Strickland, came from WWE. You've got Christian, came from WWE, basically went to AEW because he couldn't hack it anymore in WWE. You've got Samoa Joe, went to AEW because he couldn't do it in WWE anymore. You've got all the Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson, whatever the fuck you want to call him, went from WWE to AEW because he couldn't do it in WWE anymore, because he didn't want to do it anymore. You got Will Ospreay, had the chance. For me, I watched him back in days when he were in the scene. He was one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen. He chose to take the easy way out. Instead of going to the big leagues, instead of going to an actual wrestling company with actual fans, with actual production, he chose to take all the money from Tony Khan and go there because he wanted the easy life. You don't get to be the best doing the easiest things. Think about it like this. John Moxley, on the first episode of the AEW, walked into that building and the crowd popped. Loudest I've heard since Austin came back during the invasion angle, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's slotted straight into the main event scene. Look at the people that have come from AEW up to WWE. Jade Cargill, Ricky Starks, and Lexis King. Where are they all?
Ethan NXT. Well,
Yep,
one.
What's that telling you?
You've also got Ethan Page, by the way.
Ethan
Yep.
Page as well, all in NXT, apart from Jade Cargill, but she spent 9 months in the Performance Center getting her up to speed. That tells you that AEW is nowhere near the quality and the safeness and the construction of WWE, because WWE has been performing at the highest level for decades. CM Punk went to AEW because he couldn't go back to WWE because of Vince McMahon, not because of anyone else. When he went back to the show, I can't remember when it was, because Bailey invited him. Everyone was there. Everyone was happy to see him. Even Triple H wanted to go see him to discuss things with him. And Vince phoned up and said, get him out of the arena. So they had to. He went down to AEW and he said it on air that he has to work with fucking children, including the EVPs, the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. And they didn't like it because he wasn't licking their ass. So he's now gone to WWE, and look at this stuff. Look at the absolute cinema that they've been making alongside CM Punk with his matches. His match at Hell in a Cell versus Drew McIntyre, that should have been a 5-star match. His feud with Seth as well, that is absolutely unbelievable. The triple threat match at WrestleMania between him, Rollins, and Reigns was unbelievable. You talk about a guy who's nearly 50, I think. I think he's nearly 50, Punk. Is that right, Liam? About nearly 50? Or is it 50?
I'll have a look for you. I'll have a look for you while you're talking.
And I'm not being funny. He's better than every single person in AEW. Look at how the viewership of AEW went down like a fucking avalanche when Punk left. And they had the actual footage of him and whatever the fuck his name is, that Jack Wanker kid,
Jack Perry.
fainting backstage. Why would you do that? And then everyone's literally cut back to the Young Bucks. I saw him talk, because I don't watch AEW because I'm not a fucking child. Cut back to the Young Bucks, and they were like, well, we're fucked up there, aren't we? Because we shouldn't have shown that. You look at Aleister Black. He went down to AEW because he weren't getting used by Vince McMahon because he didn't know how to use him. He's come back to AEW, and oh my God, what a bloke he is. What a talent he is. I absolutely love Aleister Black. I think he's one of the best wrestlers in the world at the minute. Just like, I love his style. I love that he incorporates real jiu-jitsu and real taekwondo and kickboxing and adds a bit of strong style into it. Makes it look as though he's just kicked people's faces off. The match against Miz on Friday Night SmackDown was unbelievable. They had about 15 minutes, 10 minutes. And his Black Mass is one of my favourite finishers.
Yeah. Do you think? I'm just thinking. Then, do you know, like you said, like give the 5-star matches. What's the best people to give the ratings out? Realistically,
Ex-wrestlers.
No, fans.
Yeah, but the problem is you've got people that will say, "Oh, it's not a 5-star match because I don't like that person. I don't like that character."
But the thing is, I mean, if let's say like there's like a thing online where you can vote for a match, like a star rating system. You get 20,000 people, vote that match. If 20,000 people vote that 5-star match, then clearly it is a 5-star match. If you get people, the thing is, when you get like that many votes, you'll get an average. You're an actual average of the actual match.
The thing is, with that is people game these sort of systems,
Mm-hmm.
But what was it? And because not every wrestling fan's online. Like, in fact, like the vast majority of wrestling fans aren't online. The internet wrestling community is very small. It's only what was it, about 30,000 people. If you look at all the wrestling groups that are on the internet, it's the same people in all the groups. Just they've got one that they're particularly more active than any other. And the community isn't as big as what people think it is. But they seem to think that there's this like importance. And it's just a complete dismissal of an opinion. If you've got an opinion or a view and if it doesn't fit that view, then how they sort of decimate it and make it out to be, well, you're the bad guy, or, I mean, what was it called? like it's went totally political now. You know, if you're the whole thing, what was it? Is if you're a WWE fan, then you must be a Trump fan. You know, let me tell you something about wrestling. Most wrestlers are probably not to get too political. Most wrestlers probably vote that way because most wrestlers come from the South of America. You know, what was it called? Tony's father donated money. You know, to what was it? The Trump campaign, along with Vince and things like that. Chris Jericho's wife was at the the January 6th insurrection. You know, so it's how they pick and choose little things. You know, and Melt's just picked up on a lot of this. Melt just spouts out. It's almost like he's like this sort of weird cult leader who's got no. What was it? Nothing but that sort of narrative that he pushes out. You know, what was it? And he tries to be very. What he does when we watch it, he tries to be clever with when somebody comes at him. You know, he tries to spout like historical facts or reasoning behind things. You know, so he just bullshitting people. You know, to get out. Even Brian Alvarez is started calling out his bullshit on the EW stuff. You know, it's just it's like. You don't like the whole rating thing's nonsense, you know, like, but it's just the fact that again, like I says, he's completely sort of destroyed his own rating system, if you like, and what it is and how he's given things like good scores, you know, it's just insane the fact that there's certain matches that didn't, you know, you talked about it. What was it? Matches, Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins and Hell in a Cell, you know. But was it the reason that what match was 5-star wasn't even before the even match started. It was the synthetic of it. Pro wrestling should be rated on as well on how it's presented. When Cody took off that jacket and the whole, what was it? Right side of his whole right side was black and blue, you know.
Hey, where's he gone? Continue, James. While he's obviously bringing back on, mate.
Yeah, just following on what Ian's saying. The fact that they only gave that match 5 stars just because he took his shirt off and he tore his right boob. It's just mental, mate. But I want to point out something that I read just recently. He's never given a match that's a singles match between two black people a 5-star match. So
the more we read into this, the more it's absolute bollocks.
Yeah, you remember Bianca versus Sasha Banks at WrestleMania when it headlined that year?
Yes.
Yeah, just after COVID. Yeah, 4.2.
4.2.
Where'd you get these ratings from?
I don't get it. I don't know. I really don't know myself.
It really irritates me because you've got this guy, like I've said, who's posting these ratings they wants to call online, and people are saying, yeah, he's right because of this. The guy, I want to point out 4 wrestlers throughout history that he's never given a 5-star match to, and I can't believe this. First one, Brock Lesnar. Fair enough. Brock were never the type of person that were going to say, yeah, I'm going to go out and have a fantastic match. Because he weren't. It were, I'm going to come in, I'm going to smash some people up, I'm going to pin them, I'm going to walk out, I'm going to get my money, I'm going to shoot some cow. Fair enough. Second, Eddie Guerrero. Never got a 5-star match. Third, Kurt Angle. Never got a 5-star match. How the hell can you have the Olympic gold hero, the greatest wrestler, greatest professional actual mat wrestler of all time, never get a 5-star rating ever? Number 4, Chris Benoit.
Well, I mean,
4 wrestlers there off the top of my head that have never got a 5-star match rating. Why? You had WrestleMania 20, Benoit versus Shawn Michaels versus Triple H, probably one of the greatest triple threat matches you will ever see for a world title, and it didn't get a 5-star rating. Why? Because it wasn't done at Tokyo Dome. Because it didn't roll a load of flippy dippy shitty moves. Because it didn't have Tony Khan breastfeeding off his mum's tits.
Dear, I can't wait for the show to go out and see what gets said. Dear, I mean, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know if it's coming back on or is it internet issues or what, but we'll carry on. I'm just looking, obviously, people talking and stuff like that. Now, one of the things Dave seems to do a lot is he seems to make comments about wrestlers, but more specifically towards female wrestlers. In 2018, Dave Meltzer criticised Peyton Royce's weight, which obviously got a response from Peyton herself. She said, "What would you have me do, Dave? Starve myself? This is how nightmare for young women start. The female in your life must be proud." And I kind of hate that because I feel like every single time when it comes to female wrestlers, they get so much stick about their looks, about the way they, present themselves.
Definitely, mate. It's unbelievable. You have people criticizing every single thing that women do. End of the day, they can't change how they look. Everyone is born how they are. That's just fact of life. And I'm not being funny, but Dave Meltzer taking mick out of someone for the weight, mate. Pot calling kettle black. Look at yourself in the mirror, mate. You look like a diseased chuffing outcast from chuffing Muppet Show. Honestly, the guy is an absolute tool. He's an absolute cancer to the wrestling community. This guy needs to be stopped. He needs to be stopped, and he needs to be blacklisted by every single company in the wrestling community.
But he's not. That's the thing.
I know, because people will just keep listening to him, and there's no reason to. There's no reason to give him any limelight. There's no reason to give him any credibility or anything like that. He's an absolute fraud. Hey, he's back.
Yeah.
We're just talking about when he's making comments about like female wrestlers, more specifically Peyton Royce in 2018.
Yeah. I mean, he's made a few comments like that. Did you miss my big 5-minute rant?
You kind of cut off halfway through, so you can carry on if you want.
Where did I finish off?
I don't know.
It was about when Cody took his jacket off at the Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah, he took his jacket off at the Hell in a Cell match, and you've got that big aesthetic of him being black and blue, like some of the stuff that he's done, like the one they had with Punk and things like that as well. Just the lies. I mean, he caused most of the issues with Punk, with the lies. He was feeding the Bucks narrative as well, which was insane that he was allowed to do that.
Your friend.
Whose friend?
Your friend, the Bucks.
Oh yeah, don't even get me started on the pricks.
Carry on.
But he helped push that whole false narrative, about what had happened. Not good.
No, exactly. I mean, the thing is, we've said it for weeks, and even months. His reporting's not on point. The only two I can think of was probably the most accurate is Sean Ross Sapp and Rob Fightful.
Yeah.
Anything to add?
I've got nothing to add to that. What was it? Other than get your wrestling news, but if it comes from Dave Meltzer, just take it with a pinch of salt.
Even Eric Bischoff said that.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? So what more can you say on that, to be honest with you?
Yep.
So, Jim, anything to add?
Like I said, mate, he's a fraud. He's a complete and utter fraud. Needs to be put a stop to. And it's just unbelievable. I'm just reading here. Wrestlers with the most 5 or higher star matches. There's not a single WWE superstar on here. Who's top? Will Ospreay.
Yeah, it's going to be number one.
50 5-star matches.
Yeah, I knew that. I knew that was for a
And
fact.
Kurt Angle wasn't even on the list.
Bonkers, man. Absolute bonkers.
How can you have a 5-star rating and list and not have Kurt Angle on it? I'm not Kurt Angle's biggest fan at all. Like when I were a kid, I'm sure I'm not the old person to say this, but I did not like Kurt Angle. I thought it was quite boring. But as I've got older and I rewatch his matches, I think he's absolutely hilarious. The comedy skits that he did with Undertaker were absolutely unbelievable. When it came out as Biker Taker and Angle had the American flag bandana on, I was absolutely wetting myself watching that. When they were doing the invasion angle and Kurt were hanging around with Steve Austin all the time, having that stupid little cowboy out on his ear. Oh my God, I absolutely pissed myself laughing watching that. Absolutely hilarious, but he couldn't do everything. He could do comedy skits, he could do serious stuff, he could do championship matches, he could have a 5-star match with a chuffing Rush. And it's still get a chuffing 2.5 on fucking Uncle Dave Cockend, whatever his name is, fucking wanker shithead. Sorry for swearing, but it just really fucking riles me up.
It's fine, that's
It's
all
just-
fine. It's just have a rant and stuff like that. But the thing is, I mean, I also like Kurt Angle's TNA.
Mate, it was brilliant. Kurt Angle versus AJ Styles. Kurt Angle versus Samoa Joe. Kurt Angle versus Nick Aldis, who we know now as Nick Aldis.
Magnus at the
He
time.
he was maybe called Magnus. Then matches were unbelievable. I mean, he'd have matches against Chupping Sting, and they were brilliant. When Sting were nearly 50. How the hell do you not give Kurt Angle a 5-star match? Just one. Look at his Mania match against Shawn Michaels. That were unbelievable. One of the best matches you could ever see. If you sit at it right, if you get someone that's never watched wrestling, that is, and I will say this, the first match I ever showed my wife's never watched wrestling. The first match I ever showed Shannon, my wife, was Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels. She watched it, she was like, that were a great match, that. She knows not about wrestling. So what's that tell you?
Yeah, exactly. And maybe it's like the thing of like AEW now. Do you know what I mean? This AEW is kind of like a Dave Meltzer like type thing.
Hello?
Hello, you still there? I think his internet's playing up again.
I think my internet's been down as well. I've had to switch to mobile. Something weird's going on with the internet.
Mine's absolutely working fine. Jim, can you hear us all right?
Yeah, I'm fine, mate. Am I all right on your end?
Yeah, absolutely fine. Do you know this is what happens when we're live, guys? Do you know what I mean?
It's live TV. Anything can happen.
Dear. Right. Do you think, obviously, with Uncle Dave's, we obviously call him and stuff like that, and we all the things he's obviously doing, the ratings, the missed like communication and stuff like that. Is he ruining wrestling for you as a whole, James?
Yes.
Elaborate.
But if I have to finish the question, mate, he's absolutely fucking ruining this fucking thing that I love. I've loved this thing for the last 30 years of my life, and this prick is ruining it for me. Because he thinks he's right, and he thinks he's got a fucking privilege, and he's got a right to tell people what they should and shouldn't do. Mate, fuck off back to your mum's fucking basement, die in a fire, shut the fuck up.
Oh, so I need to edit that out now. Fuck's sake, James.
I didn't say I was going to kill him. You said I wasn't allowed to kill him, which I didn't.
No, but this is on YouTube. It happens when we're on YouTube, right? Ain't it? Can you hear us all right?
Yep.
Can
He's
you
a
just stop
wanker.
Yeah, he is and stuff like that.
Yeah,
This is what
I'm
happens-
usually the really like mellow one, but mate, you brought this out on me by making me talk about Dave Meltzer.
the thing is, what wound me up more so is like the thing he said about the laziness and like thinking, and he directed it specifically, obviously, the women.
Yeah, it's because he's a sexist prick, mate. Honestly, he thinks he's got a fucking right to talk shit about people when he hasn't.
Yeah, I don't know, mate. I mean,
mate. Glass houses.
but like I said, I mean, I love the fact that Brian Alvarez obviously called him out on his bullshit. Eric Bischoff's called him out on his bullshit. I know Bruce Pritchard has. I think even Jim Cornette probably has as well.
Everyone needs to do it, mate. Every single person that's got a platform needs to call him out on his bullshit because all he is a bully. He's a bullshitting bully and he's a cancer to this sport, to this entertainment.
Okay. Obviously, I know you've been having issues with your internet connections. Go on, anything to add?
Where I mean, what to say? You know, the man's divided wrestling.
Do you think he's divided it though? Sorry, just to elaborate what you just said there. Do you think he's divided, or do you think like AEW has in a way?
Well, both. I mean, but was it his intent with the EW was to try and get everybody behind this sort of PWG Japanese style because he was pally with the guys that were there, you know, and that almost legitimate. Like he was using it to almost legitimize himself, you know, like. But his logic behind a lot of stuff doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. It never does, to be honest.
No.
I don't get the logic. I really don't. And like I said, I mean, when obviously news get... When obviously see a lot like, you know, news articles and stuff like that, the first thing I always do is look who's obviously posted it. And if I see Wrestling Observer, I'm just like, nah, I'm just going to skip. That's how bad it's got for me as a fan. I don't know about you, James.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Whenever I see anything on Twitter or I see anything on any social media whatsoever, as soon as it says posted by Dave Meltzer, posted by Wrestling Observer newsletter, straight away, delete, block, because I just can't deal with it, mate. It's just utter bullshit. Never known anyone talk out their ass more than this guy. It's just ridiculous, mate. Honestly, I just can't get my head around it. What I want to know is, how does he do the rating system? How does he rate the matches? Like, how does he do it?
Well, he's actually did an interview about that, and it did. Jim Cornette actually breaks it down. It doesn't make any sense, you know. But was and I would try and explain it, but I can't because it's so weird, and you know, it's almost as if he's bullshitting. But there's a video I'm talking about how he rates things, you know, and it doesn't make any logical sense.
It's just a lot of convoluted bullshit.
Yeah. Because the problem with like any sort of rating is when you sort of introduce bias, and he's got like a huge bias towards the WWE because they didn't give him a job essentially, you know.
Yeah.
And what was it? Vince always kept him at arm's length and kept him like didn't treat him like a lot of the other sort of wrestling journalists and things like that, you know. And what was it? Was always sort of like weary of him, you know. I mean, Dave. Then when he went full pelt, when the sort of steroid stuff and that took off as well, you know, because he thought he was going to be like the big, like he was going to be like the guy with the what was it, the Watergate and things like that. You know, if you listen to some of the stories, he thought he was going to be the man, you know, because he was like this and that. It's just bizarre. Like I mean, it's quite clear that he had people in the WWE that are now gone because he's not got any. He's almost doubled down in his hate because he's not got anybody there giving them information. More so, actually, in the last 18 months, that he's come out with like some really false rumors. You know, like the whole EW TV deal. What was it? It turned out somebody had taken a like the structure of the like a WWE like SmackDown deal from years previous and just re-edited the document with EW on it, sent it to him, and he's out there like touting it as if, yeah, I've got this inside information. I've seen what the TV deal is going to be, and it was nothing like it. Nothing like it. You know, what was it called? It was total bullshit.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I've just found a little thing from Chris Van Vliet. Like, do you know, a little short? I've just got the audio. So this is how he rates the match. curiously. So here we go.
Talk about your rating system, because obviously ratings in wrestling are subjective, but what goes into rating a match for you?
I just watch the match, and when it's over, it's kind of like, what did they accomplish? Did it look good? Did the crowd get off on it? I mean, sometimes the crowd will get off on it because the two personalities are so strong. If you start the match and the crowd's going crazy for the ring entrance, and that's the hottest part of the match, and how great was the match really? Even if the match is much hotter than a match that starts at 0 and you build it up to a level in the entire match, build. The most successful matches, you start at this point, you build, and you peak at the finish. You know, if you do a lot of unique, cool things, do things out of the pattern, if you're expecting something and then they do something different and go, oh my God, if they can do that real well, like surprise the audience in a good way where they react. I like that rather than just pattern.
Discuss.
Bullshit.
Ain't it?
Yeah. But like, by that logic, then, like I says, the Cody coming out and revealing his jacket and being black and blue down his right side should have been 5 stars.
Could it have been? I mean, let's obviously throw the question out there. If you was rating a match and stuff like that, what elements would you obviously give? That's to you both, by the way.
Well,
it's fucking obvious. You have the level of wrestling. You have the construct of the storyline.
Mm-hmm.
You have the crowd reaction.
Mm-hmm.
You have the build up of the match.
Yep.
Because obviously, if it's a quick big man bang, then that's it. It's a shit match. But if it's like a 20-minute match where they've got a lot of build up, for example, Usos versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn for tag titles, that were a great match.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he said all that stuff about how he rates things, yet Rock versus Hogan, Rock versus Stone Cold at WrestleMania 17, with a 5-star rating for that match. That's probably one of the greatest Mania matches of all time. So what he's just said there is a lot of utter bullshit.
Male suspects completely.
Ain't it?
yep, can't argue with that at all. I really can't. You know, and it's. I don't understand why people like. Yeah, I just don't get it at all. Why people legitimize what he says as if it's the thing. It's like, no, it just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Why he's got this group of people that legitimize his opinion. You know, but like you don't. He went away and he was into his MMA, which was great because he disappeared for a wee while and he was talking about that. You know, he'd sort of left wrestling alone, and then obviously the Bullet Club stuff and all that hit off, and what was it? The Young Bucks called their move the Meltzer Driver. So he obviously thought, right, I'm in. You know, a bit of what was it recognition? So I'll just suck up to these guys, and through his whole sort of like that's why him and Jim Cornette fell out, because he basically flew through his whole sort of ethos about wrestling out the window just to like have a midlife crisis, and because he had these guys that were almost mocking him to begin with, you know. What was it, a champion and everything about him, you know. It's all about ego.
Yeah, it definitely is and stuff like that. I mean, like I said, I think Jim's right. Do you know what I mean? You had like elements that into the match, like crowd involvement. Is that half a star? Is that 1 star? But I want to point out obviously what Chris said there, and obviously we like to balance the show out, any. But ratings are going to be subjective throughout wrestling, whether it's Dave Meltzer, whether it's us, whether it's a fan.
Yeah, and it is, you know, but what was it? His opinion on the match is no more legitimate than mine, because what was it? Both of us have got the same amount of experience in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what was it? So what was it? There's no legitimacy to what he's saying. Again, it's just an opinion. But when you set a set of rules, a set of guidelines for how things are rated, and then you sort of change that. You know, I mean, like the fact that it's like 6 stars out of 5. You know, that whole thing's just that was probably a conversation they had. What was it? What was it? He was probably fucking. What was it? Wiping his chin after one of the young bucks just took the cock out his mouth, and they suggested it. You know, why don't you give us 6 stars out of 5? That'd be funny. You know. What was it? And lo and behold, you know, you've got all these like 6-star matches. You know.
Yeah, it definitely is. Let's obviously wind down. Sorry, what?
Yeah. So it's a 5-star match. You know, it's not a 6-star match. It's a 5-star match.
Let's obviously wind down and stuff like that because we're nearly at an hour and stuff like that. James, I mean, any final thoughts? What we've obviously talked about today.
People just need to stop paying attention to this guy because eventually he'll just stop doing it because it's just getting beyond a joke. I mean, there's one match in particular that I want to. In fact, there's 2 matches in particular that I want to mention. As we all remember, Takeover all the years ago between Bayley and Sasha Banks, the incredible Iron Woman match where Sasha ended up going up to main roster. That didn't get a 5-star match, which a 5-star rating, sorry, which I believe is an absolute criminal to the business because that is one of the best women's matches I've ever watched, in my opinion. I don't know about you guys. And then the other match is actually one that was at an all-women's pay-per-view, which was Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair, which was the last woman standing match at Evolution. That's another incredible women's match that didn't get a 5-star rating at all. And then just another quick one, Lesnar versus Cena versus Rollins at the Royal Rumble. That were an incredible triple threat match. I mean, the fact that Cena and Rollins both beat up Lesnar, put him through a table. Lesnar looked like he'd just died. And then just as Seth were about to win, Lesnar basically did an Undertaker, came back from the dead and just absolutely annihilated both people. I mean, you want storyline, you want crowd participation and pop, you want incredible wrestling. You put Brock Lesnar in a match with John Cena, who was one of the greatest of all time, in a match against Seth Rollins, one of the best technical and gifted wrestlers of all time. You give them 20 minutes, you let them absolutely rip each other's arseholes out, and you say, right, boys, have at it. Show us what you can do. And that's what they did. And they didn't get a 5-star rating. So I just don't get it. It's bizarre. It's just absolutely mental. It's almost like going up to a doctor and saying, like me, if say that my arm were broken, I went to a doctor and said my arm's broken, and doctor said, yeah, you need a new arm, you need some bones replacing, and I went, no, you don't. I just need a metal plate put in. What do I know? I'm not a doctor. You know what I mean? This guy's not a wrestler. He's never been a wrestler. He's never been anywhere near a wrestling ring. Stop paying him attention. Stop giving him any credibility and just blacklist him from everything because he's ruining wrestling for fans, for people that are legitimate fans like us.
Okay, fair enough. Any final thoughts?
He's a wanker.
Straight to the point. I love it. Yeah, I mean, 53 minutes, we might have a right good little rant about Dave Meltzer. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with YouTube with some of the stuff we said today, but who knows?
I do apologise for what I said and all the swearing.
No, I'm not on about that. I'm on about the comments you made. Do you know what I mean? YouTube don't give a shit about that. Dear. Yeah, I mean, guys, do we feel better now we've vented all this out?
I do feel a bit better, yeah.
Yeah, Andy?
Yeah. It's just frustrating that people continue to report these news, you know. And it's the whole narrative. Well, it's just news. It's on the internet, so that's why I'm reporting it. It's like, Yeah, but if you continue to like post bullshit, people are going to believe bullshit. You know, it's just
Exactly.
like, I mean, you're talking about a guy that tried to say that like calling somebody a mark was just as was as bad as calling somebody the N word. You know, it's like
You-
it's just a plonker.
He definitely is, stuff like that. Yeah, we'll wrap up obviously today's show and stuff like that. Yeah, as always, you can obviously support the show, The Magic of Wrestling, on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. We're absolutely everywhere. Go check out Wrestling World Game. Obviously, the link in the description of this show, mate. So go check it out. When's your next upload?
I think I might have to do one tomorrow, mate. I'm rewriting WrestleMania 2010 Money in the Bank ladder match.
Okay, stay tuned for that. Like I said, we'll put all links in the description and stuff like that. James, thank you so much, mate, for taking time to talk to us. It's always a pleasure, mate, to be in your presence.
Yay! Yeah, as with you.
Okay, let's roll the outro, guys.